Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we'll learn about one of the most important concepts in JavaScript, that is variables. If you want to store data, reuse values, and build real applications, understanding variables is extremely important. So let's get started. Let us start with what is a variable. Variable is like a container that holds a value. So just like a box can store items, a variable can store data such as numbers, text, or even complex objects. So in JavaScript, a variable allows us to store information and use it later in our program. Not, Let us try to see how to declare a variable. So in JavaScript, you can declare variables using three keywords. One is var, let, and constant. Var, let, and const. So we'll see each of them in detail. So let us start with let, which is the most commonly used today. So if you want to use let, just use let and the variable name, for example, age, and you can assign the value. Assign the value. This is how you declare the variable using let. So here age is the variable name and 23 is the value. And you can use any type of data like strings, string, number, boolean, etc. Now, if you want, now this is the way we declare a variable. Now, how do we use this variable? So once a variable is declared, we can use it anywhere in our code. To use it, for example, if you want to see the value in the console log, and you call the variable name. So, if you want to run this and see, so this should print the value of the variable to the console. Here you can see 23 is printed. Now changing the variable value. So one of the most important thing about variable declared with let is that their values can be changed, which is not the case with const. Okay. So here if you want to change this value, for example, I want to change this age value to 30, and now I will run it. I will see that the new value of age is printed. Here you can see the 30 is printed. So this is how we modify the value. Now coming now let us try to understand const. So const is used for constant values. So when we want the value should not change, we want to declare a fixed value. For example, you have some API URLs, right? API URLs, and you do not want it to be changed. You do not want someone to change the value. Then we can use const. Here you can see const URL api.com. This is just a random URL. I will use this. So here, this is the way you declare a const variable. Here you can see the API URL. Some text is printed. Now, if you want to modify this value during the course of your program, modified value, and you want that to be printed in this console log output, you will see that you will get an error. Process executed with code 1 and got type error, assignment to constant variable. If you are modifying that to const variable, JavaScript will throw an error. So this makes const great for values that should stay fixed. Now talking about var, so you might see var in some of the older JavaScript. So, but uh, it is used in the same way. However, it has some differences in the scope. So you can declare this variable, for example, city is equal to New York. You can so log this output. is similar to let, but just the scope is different. Now let us talk about some of the naming rules for a variable. So a variable name should start with a letter. Should start with a letter or an underscore or a dollar sign. For example, you can create a variable name. For example, name equal to John. So this is a letter. Now I can create a name with an underscore. Name John 2. I can create a name starting with a dollar. John 3. Variable names are case sensitive. So if you try to console log a variable called capital NAME, you should get an error. See, you got an error, name is not defined. But if you use the same exact name in the same case, you should get the output. So here you see John was printed. So if you're declaring some variable names, try to give some meaningful names so that other developers who are using your code can understand it better. Good variable names make your code easier to read and understand. So why do variables matter? Variables are everywhere in JavaScript. They store user input, hold calculation results, track application state, and many more things. Without variables, writing useful programs would be nearly impossible. Right? So to conclude, variables store data in JavaScript. You can use let for values that change, and you can use const for values that stays the same. And try to avoid using var in modern JavaScript code. Found this video helpful, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you in the next video.